Hello Pauper people and welcome to a new video about combo walls. In this video we will show a full league played with a traditional version of combo walls, and I will try as usual to talk as little as possible during the replays in order to have a reasonable length for the whole thing. Let's go immediately to the deck list. The deck list is more or less standard. In this period, I just want in several matchups to be as fast as possible. So I put in the deck again a couple of elves, Elvis Mystic and Lanover elves, divided by name just in order to avoid echoing spells, even though they are not very common anyhow. I have only two mana dorks because I love again in this period to have at least two Wall of Roots, because as long as you have two mana, they work as a one casting cost mana creating defender that works on both turns. I want to have also, concerning the mana base, one Tinderbolt because it's a mini ritual, helps with tac and other situations. And now I cut one general scent because I had the elves, but I still want at least three. Since I want to be fast, I want to have a reasonable stable mana base, I went up to 61 cards. There are no other main changes in the main deck list, while we can now discuss about the sideboard. A few things are common, let's say the Hero of the Glade package against Cool Daughter Red, the 4 natural obsolescence against the artifact-based deck, especially Affinity. Against all of these decks, and most of the ones using Clark and Shamans, but probably I would say the bridges. I have decided that the best way is to be the aggressor, to go as fast as possible, ignoring what they do, and try to gain time to do my plan. Natural obsolescence helps in this regard because it slows them down a little, and this little might be hopefully enough to win. We have then a couple of moments pieces against aggressive decks, especially elves, all the decks that can be using Nyxborn Hydra, White Weenie, and other ones. We have two Tamiya's safekeeping. This could be Vines on Basswood if you want to try to attack also lead decks, but I really like the undestructibility that it gives to our creatures, so it also could be an answer, even though a partial one, Clark, Clark Shaman. If they play Toxin, you use it in response to Toxin in order to make them sacrifice a lot of artifacts, otherwise you have at least one creature surviving. Finally, we have two Scattershot Archers. We went back to two because I expect a significant amount of fairies nowadays, especially more blue ones. And then I'm trying the suggestion of a wall Discord aficionado who is Cortes Monaro to try the big flag bearers, coalition honor guards, especially against Glee decks. I'm suspicious about them just for the casting cost, but on the other hand, I have a fast mana base, so I wanted to try them. So this completes the deck tech. So let's go immediately to the league matches. Welcome to match 1. We are on the plane against Hell Dude. Our end is very good. It's a keep against any opponent. The only thing that we can decide if we're going to cycle the general strength at the end of turn 1, most likely yes. Opponent is on a blue deck, so the strategy against the blue decks is first of all to over mana them. That means put on board as many mana creators as possible in order to be able to play very early 2 spells per turn. They usually can interact only with one, so we waste the first one and then we resolve the more important one. The most important cards in these matchups are the card drawing cards, the Stampede and Windy Ways. So we will sacrifice basically everything in order to resolve one of them. In this case, we will start with the battlement, and then depending on what they play, we will try to go first with the Queen Ranger to see if they have spell status right, and then develop from there. Interesting reveal from opponent. We see a Sneaky Snacker and a Nice Tunnel, so it's most likely not a mono blue version of the deck, because Ice Tunnel is not normal even in the basically mono blue version that runs Sneaky Snacker. So we are most likely against a version of Fairies or Terror. We go on as per plan, we don't expect the opponent to play anything here. As expected, they counter the Axebane, which goes with our plan. We want to try to make them exhaust all their 1-for-1 interaction, and especially snuff outs and counterspells, and then overwhelm them with card draw or Reaping the Graves in the endgame. In most of the cases, we are kind of the control deck against them. First, a snuff out is gone. Important against snuff out decks to ping them with our critters as often as possible. This can be a path to victory. Second snuff out, terror. Right now, we depend a lot on this lead the Stampede. If they have spell pierce, we have most likely lost this game. They don't. We get a reasonable outcome, nothing special. So right now we need to gain time. So we'll start chump blocking. And such an early Murmurous Mystic is revealing. Opponent seems to be already out of interaction, or they are on a sort of more aggro plan. Here we will block with Orochi. Again, we get an X-Bane, and next turn we will block with Virion, since we have another one. Let's see what they do. Ponder. South Scour. Okay, this build seems to be a brew, because we see a main deck Suffocating Fume, which can happen but is not super common. But we do see Careful Study. Careful Study is very rarely played, so they seem to have a more, let's say, anti-cool Dota version focused on be a sort of aggro UB terror deck. This makes me think they most likely have less interaction, which is much better for us. Was per plan, apply our 2 creatures. Here we are not going to block, because basically we need to win this turn. We cannot resist anymore. If they have the interaction, they have it and we lose. We go for Freed. They do not have it, and therefore we win game 1. We just optimize the mana to have less clicks, and we win. I mean with that if you have exactly 8 mana in pool, the Valakut Invoker invocation is just one click instead of clicking once and then 8 to use the mana. So always save targets and then try to have multiple of 8 mana to be faster. For me it's not usually a problem, but you never know. Let's see how game 2 goes. Welcome back to game 2. We side in the Bio safekeepings and just one scattershot archer. I was not super sure how representative game 1 was for the plan of our opponent, so I put 1. Let's see if we draw it and how it goes. We removed the 2 1/1s since we saw the spell that kills all them, that gives to every creature, to each creature -1 suffocating fumes game 1. And we remove the Tinder Wall. All these 1 mana cards are usually less important against UB where the games tend to go longer. And indeed, we immediately draw the Scattershot Archer, so we will try it. This and this average, but it could work. I might still be playing Saruli first, just in case of something else I want to do. Probably should not be the case, but it's possibly the safest option. Here we just play the 2 creatures. In this way we miss 1 point of damage, but it should not be a big issue at this stage. They keep with their very aggressive plan. Here, most likely we are not going to do anything except attack with Aquarium. They don't even attack, we kill the fairy. Same as before, we just attack with both creatures in this case. Again, very realistic. And snuff out on the archer. So, as we can see, the archer is very important in this match. Opponent used significant resources to kill it. So, since we have Reaping the Grace, we plan to bring it back as soon as possible. Right now, we are just going to lead and then decide based on what we draw. Average draw, but at least we have a better one. They kill our Aquarium, which is okay for us. Here we start trying to develop stuff. Again, in this case, we forced the counter because we wanted to have back the Scattershot Archer. And now we have enough mana to bring back Quirion and Scattershot. They have only 2 cards in hand. And they kinda go all in. They obviously don't have snuff out. Here we just clear the board, play the end, and see what they do. We actually even decided to go a little more aggro since we had the opportunity and resolved another lead stampede, which was not super good, but gave us some two good cards, which are Secret Door and the End. Opponent is trying to frantically digging quite a bit. Here they weirdly attack with the Terror. We will of course block it, which is unexpected. Okay, opponent realized they made a mistake or they had no choices, and they scoop. So we win game one again, match one against UB. See you in match two. Match two against Shire, again a name I cannot recognize. We are on the draw. This hand is way too slow to do anything, even if you draw a forest. So mulligan. This one is a little land heavy, but is much better. Okay, opponent is on MonoW Heroic. That usually is a good matchup for us. There are three main things that they have to do or they can use to beat us. The first one is turn one Deathblade Elite, the guy with provoke on the play, uh, and then mainly interactions to try to save our combo or some instant to give protection and go through our blockers. So we expect to be favored in this match. Filter lands. Okay, he played Ethereal Armor, which is okay, but apparently they have only one land and they play Ornithopter. Ornithopter is really unusual, so we might be against the brew. We keep going with our plan. We get the second land and aggressively protect the Trailblazer in order to go through all possible blocks. Here, the original plan was to go with Lead the Stampede, but since we drew Winding Way, we cast it because it's more money efficient. And we whiff totally. We drew two Forest, Winding Way, Lead the Stampede, which is one of the key reasons I really don't like Winding Way, but it's often necessary. On the bright side, we do not have any more four kinda useless cards on top of our deck. But we need to do something significant very fast. Okay, they are on the solid footing, so we should expect some kind of vigilance very soon. We are basically dead next turn. We need to be lucky. Another flying artifact. We get a very good lead the stampede, but that is unfortunately completely useless in this situation. So we lose game one. Back to the game two, we brought in the moments pieces and just to try them the big flag bearers, even though they might be too slow. We removed the three winding ways, possibly too many, because they kinda combo with moment piece. Probably I should have removed the mix between them and did the Stampede and one General Sand, which is the slowest card in the deck in this moment. We are on the play. Let's see what we have. We had the two Mulligan and Unkeepable Hand. We have another one which is again land heavy, but at least we have a turn to lead the Stampede. We have the Flag Bearer to see if it could do anything. It might be worth noting that possibly if we want to play them we need to use Harassing Purpose. Okay, now we have to see. First of all, we get a fantastic lead Stampede, but opponent played turn 1 Ornithopter and enchanted it with this that I think I saw it last time during a Apocalypse draft in the last century. So the creature has protection for green and blue. So it's going to be very hard for us to interact with it. So we need to go fast. Again, solid footing, so they are going to be fast. Here you see why sometimes Tinderworld is important, because we can play two key walls in one turn. Okay, we have at maximum 2 turns, and here the play should be, they say that with hindsight, uh, first of all the standard, the flag bearer, and then transmute for freed. What I will do instead, I try to go for the kill, hoping they do not have a 1 mana interaction, which could be the case, but is an unnecessary risk. There is a third line, which is not usable now. That will be to try to drift, not to try, to transmute drift for tac to block, but it doesn't solve anything, so it has no sense. So here we go with the risky play. And they have the interaction. I apologize for such bad play on video, but you see everyone makes mistakes, or especially myself, I tend to play very fast, and in leaks I don't pay too much attention to all the lines. Still, it's an horrible play. Here again I played the drift to try to increase the number of defenders in play for next, but it's probably not the best way. Opponent plays yet another unusual aura that gives vigilance, and now he's without card in hands, but we will lose almost everything unless we find something good. At the moment we can only play the flag bearer, play Ripping the Grace, getting back the drift and the general scent in order to hopefully survive with the full token. Next turn we need to draw something or die. We can play all our creatures except the drift, since reaping is gone, so we don't have any more any additional graveyard interaction. And let's see if we die. We luckily don't, but now we really depend on this drift. Draw a mountain, so we need to go for. We have two choices here: going from a lucky lead or trying a third path savant. But I think the mana, we have not enough mana for this second line, so we must go for a lead. We do. We get once again 5 useless creatures and we die. Even though it's all our fault. So we lose the match to a big misplay. See you in match 3. Welcome to match 3 against Daigoro, another player that I don't recognize immediately. We are again on the draw. Let's see what we have. This hand is risky and tempting, meaning that usual on the play it cannot be kept. On the draw, if I was in a important situation, I would mulligan. Right now, since we have already lost one match, so I'm in a sort of not going for 5-0 anymore uh, mood. I think I kept it just to see if it can pan out. It's very powerful against a lot of decks. We just need one land or something similar in the first couple of draws. Okay, opponents start with an unexpected turn 1 Bujuka Bog. Let's hope it's not Gardens. Play the Quirion, which is again a good draw. Another Bujuka Bog is very weird, but the Quirion survives and we can play our bottom. We can even attack. Okay, Black-White Bridge. This might be some form of Glint Blade deck, which are most likely the most favorable matchups we have on Magic Online. They are too slow for everything. I think I have 100% win rate against them in several matches, more than 10 for sure. If this is the case, we are in a very good situation, otherwise might be some kind of brew. I'm puzzled by the double Bojuka Bok main. If it's a brew, is also usually favorable for us because we are typically more efficient. Let's see. Here we just develop our board. Just to be sure, we will drift for another Axeman, since we have a very strong hand. Opponent is not interacting at all, which is really weird. Okay, Seat of the Synod. Definitely it's a brew, some form possibly of Esper Affinity. Okay, they Kenku, if they attack us, they are dead. Okay, they are dead. We got an easy game 1. Here we just win normally, drifting and then reaping the drift back to hand to get the second piece of the opponent scoops. Game 2, on the play, we sided in the 4 obsolescences and the artifact cards, and we perform the usual swap for them, which is based on getting out the 3 winding ways and 1 generous hand. We are on the draw. We have a reasonable hand, not super fast, but we basically have the whole combo in hand. familiar, so we drop one forest. Here we need to develop our board, so we will be relatively weak to multiple familiars. We have a surprise with Hopeless Nightmare, so opponent is also, let's say, discard focused. Here we are going to drop the Shield Wall Sentinel, hoping they don't have another familiar. They do not, luckily for us. Here we draw our best possible spell, but we make yet another big mistake, which is replaying that forest. We didn't need to play it, and in that way we could be protected against double discard. Of course, we need to protect the fleet as much as we can. Again, a familiar, and again we need to hope. Here, opponent makes a weird choice, using Thrive and Charm on the secret door instead of the Axe being Guardian, leaving us the door open. We do not draw anything though, so we keep the battlement in hand just for protection from this card. Opponent has a significant clock in the air and a lot of mana, so this game is not super good for us at the moment. We can play now the battlement, leaving the Quirion as discard protection. Opponent seems to be slightly flooded. Glint Oak, so we will have to discard the Quirion most likely. Indeed. So we are dead on board in this moment. The dispute, not counted, they pass. Okay, here we rip very needed and make sure we don't die, most likely next turn, and we even have a block. Go to 9. Opponent cast downs the end, which is good for us. Juka Bell is also good for us. They attack us to 3. They start digging. They keep digging. Okay, Hopeless Nightmare. We sacrifice basically our last forest. We go to 1. And we needed to rip. And we do rip like a champion. Very, very lucky. We have the kill now. Opponent scoops. See you in match 3. Welcome back to match 4 against Rotivoti. I remember this name from the past, but I'm not sure what they could be on. We are once again on the draw, but once again we have a very good draw. Let's see what they play. Okay, a white deck. Almost all white decks are very good for us, especially White Weenie, but I will say whenever you see a turn 1 Raven, let's say turn 1 Inspector, whichever kind it is, you are most likely going to win. The only, say, important cards to check out are three. The first and most important one, by far, is Trade and Charm. The second one might be Journey, and then the +2/+2 instant in case of they have a fast start. It's White Weenie. Okay, important tell, they discard Trap and Charm, meaning they have at least another one in hand, possibly two, because no one will discard Trap and Charm in this spot otherwise. So we have the first battlement, but he's going to die, as expected. We play another couple of walls. Okay, again as expected. Let's hope they didn't have the 4 off. Here we search for X-Bane. They have 3 mana, so we start taking into account the possibility of the +2/+2 instant. So we need to be sure not to be dead to that one. Here we could play General's Hand, but we wouldn't have enough blockers. So we just play the X-Bane. Block as much as we can. Here we have an average one. We can lead again looking for Aquarium. We don't find it. So we just develop as many creatures and mana as possible in order to improve our draw next turn. We hope not to die because we cannot block everything. They still have the last land, so we are praying. We are luckily alive. So right now we just go for it. We cannot do anything else. Okay. Now we need to first lead to see if we see the kill. We do. So it's all easy now. Opponent concedes. Game 2, we sided in the 2 Mammoth pieces and the 2 Tamilios as answers to Grab and Charms. In this case, we sided out one each of the draw spells and then 2 slow cards, which are Telepath Savant and Drift of Phantasms. We have a reasonable hand. We can keep it. Opponent in the meantime tells us that we helped them in the past and it thanks us, which is very good. And then we play the game. Here we are going to play this Ceruli first, just to soak 1 damage. We start very traditional as well. Here we just keep adding mana. This game will be based around the moment piece we have in hand. They develop their board. Now we start playing 2 X-Banes. Again, Tinder Wall as mini ritual. We cannot block here, but we are not going to be dead, even if they had the +2/+2. From now on, we just sort of play a wait game and start playing around possible dimensions. Again, we block just a little to see if we can bait out big spells. They don't. They still have charm open, so we cannot win through reaping. So we need to keep developing the board. The moment here, an ant is more than enough. They keep drawing creatures, cut drawing. Now we know they do not have the +2/+2. Here we just block. We should not take any damage except in weird situations. But Rabin Charm is always open. So again, just not to waste resources here, we are going for a lead. We get a reasonable outcome, so we start playing stuff. Getting ready for a possible kill next turn. Opponent still has drawn as many cards as many cards as us. They keep drawing, and basically they concede. They apparently have nothing in hand that is worth. Yeah, they say they never had it. Here we just confirm it. And the opponent scoops. So let's go to the final match to see if we have a positive outcome from this league. Ready to start match 5, once again on the draw against Iliad, another name that I heard before but I cannot associate to a specific deck. Let's see what they play. Here we have a mana heavy hand, which is reasonably good, especially against Cold. So on the draw we will keep it. And they are on Dredge. Dredge used to be very positive matchup for us, but now with Malevolent Rumble it isn't anymore. It's still favorable, but I would say maximum 60-40. They need to play very well to win, but they can do it. And the main line is usually a double reanimation on low flat giant. If they can do it reasonably fast, it can be a problem for us. Then from the sideboard they have interactions, so depending on what they play, it could be easier or more difficult for us to win. Here we will just start developing our board. They unfortunately got immediately a Stinkwind Eve and immediately a Dread Return. I went Rumble, they kept the land. Here we just go for a Winding Way, which is okay. They escape Roma. And the first, okay. Here we see second Dread Return, and first Giant. So we need to go fast. Okay, here we get a very good draw. We will win next turn. So they need to do the miracle right now. It all depends on this last uh, surveil. Let's see what they found. And they did find the second giant. So we lose on turn 4 to Dredge. And we will probably go to minus 10 or something. Yeah, 0-1, unexpected. Game 2. On the play, we just sided in the 3 healers of the glades in order to try to raise our life total a little and faster. We sided out the ends, which also rise up our life total but are much slower. We need to go fast. This end is lowish, but we have a lot of life, so we keep it. Okay, they usually have two kinds of interaction game 2, that can be Mesmeric Fiend, which is the worst for us. The other one are Snuff Out or Other Removal. The good news is that for some reason opponent took the wrong card, because it's the only one we could not do anything with right now. They should have taken, in my opinion, the Battlement, but we don't complain. We even start attacking, they cannot block. Here we will get an Axebane. And opponent once again chooses the wrong card with Mesmeric, which is really lucky for us. We will start drawing a lot of cards. At the same time, they have very minimal development for their own game plan. They are even forced to play the thing we did. We keep drawing and drawing, even though we draw a lot of lands. But you see the power of third path summon. We have double lead. The first one is very good, and we can even play the second one. Just doing some William shenanigans. We draw even more, and opponents go. Game 3, to let's say save the league and have a reasonable score. We are on the draw. Again, we have a slowish hand, but it's a good one. We can keep it. Opponent mulligans to 6. Start with the pylon, but nothing in the graveyard, which is not a good sign. We start developing. Okay, you have a stinkweed. The first giant is in the graveyard. We keep going on with our plan. They keep digging as well, but nothing special. So here we can resolve the lead and possibly doing something more, which is indeed the case. Here we will shield wall for another shield wall just in case of Mesmeric Fiend. Another giant and Mesmeric Fiend. Okay. Now we will have to dig through the secret door. We'll go to Lost Mine, the middle dungeon on Magical Line, which is the ones that is faster to complete with when you have not access to a lot of mana. blue mana in particular. Here we will go the first three rooms. We can create here a treasure token, and the next one will gain us an additional life point. We need to survive a couple of turns. Another mat is not very good for us, and indeed the first Dread return happens. We get it, and do we die? We luckily don't, but we need to go fast. Okay, third path Savant. We go first with the dungeon because it's more efficient. Nothing. Savant. Start drawing. We keep drawing nothing, but we are not very far because we have the Orochi. But we whiff again. So we play as much as we can and then we just pray. They find once again in the very last moment the second dread return, and we unfortunately die. We pretend to have a pulse of Murasa to dig for, and then we concede. We unfortunately end this league with a very average score, 3-2, 3-2, which is very bad considering this league was a very easy one for us. We didn't meet any mainstream meta deck, and not even very bad matchups, only one difficult one. And we lost two games, one due to balance, this last one. Dredge, they played very well. Dredge is a very good deck, and you have to play it well. And they did. They killed us for game one. But unfortunately, we made a very big mistake against Heroic, which was very, very bad. So I apologize once again for this thing, but this is Magic Online, it happens. I won't change the deck for the moment. I will keep even the big flag bears just to test them a little more. Having said so, I thank you again for watching and see you to the next video. Ciao!